All right, so first of all, we're going to learn Git. So what is Git? Why do we need it? So Git is a distributed version control system. So basically, it's a system that's going to record changes to our files over time. And we can recall any specific version of those files at any given time, and that in itself is going to save a lot of time. It also allows many people to easily collaborate on a project, and that way they can all have their own version of that project on their computer to work in on their own time. Now, let me just explain why we're using it. Then I'll give you a short example. So just imagine that you have started doing a website for a client. And one of your clients sent you a website design, and they wanted you to code it. Then you created a project on your computer, built the web app, and send in the website link to the client, right? And the client gets a link, looks at that, and then at some point in time, he sends you back an email and says, you know what, I don't like that the sidebar is pink. Maybe we could change the sidebar theme to red, let's say. And then you say, okay. And then you did all the changes, and you reloaded all the files, and you changed everything that they wanted to, and you send it back with a link. And then at some point in time, let's say they don't like the header or some other part of the project. And then they say, well, you know what? We need to take this over here, move that over there, and change the header, and so on and so forth. So you'll do those changes, you'll reload them, send those changes back, and then a few days later, they'll get back to you, and back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And they would say, we're really sorry, but we think that the original design is what we want. I don't know if that ever happens to you, but it happens all the time. So as a professional, you will remove all the changes that you did, revert back to the original design, and then reload the project, and then send the link back. Now, at some point in time, this process would get a little bit frustrating and sometimes even boring, and you're going to lose that sort of will and foresight to make all the changes in your project folder. So at that point in time, version control, or maintaining a version control system, makes this process very easy to manage. So it's thanks to a version control system that we can make different versions of folders if we like. So we will create the initial website, and the client always comes back and says, yeah, I want to change this and that, so what are we going to do? Then you duplicate that folder into one that's called version 2. And then just make the changes in there, and then upload that. Then if you want to do another change, create version 3, version 4, etc. So then in that way, if they ever say, oh, you know what, sorry, let's go back to version 2 or version 1, you don't have to recode anything at all. All you have to do is reload the version that they want now. So that's only one of the advantages of Git. Okay, so some of the other advantages of version control systems are you don't have to store all the versions of a project on your local computer. Yeah, that could be messy. It's going to eat up a lot of space on your hard drive, so wouldn't it be better just using Git? Git allows you to store all versions of projects in just one directory. So you're going to have the version history, and then you could always use any version that you want to, whichever one suits the project at the time. So, of course, that's really awesome. Now, sure, it's going to save you a lot of time. It will also allow you to work on new features without messing up that main version by the help of something that we call branch, which we'll touch on and learn about a little deeper later on. But another one of the most important benefits of Git is it will easily allow you to collaborate with other developers if you're working in a team. So we can collaborate with other developers and work as a team just to sync up the code to GitHub. Now, another topic that we're going to learn is GitHub. So GitHub is indeed an online service that hosts our projects so that we can more easily share code with other developers on our team or others who want to be on our team. Now, those developers can download the projects, work on them on their different machines, and we could all reload our edits and then merge them into the main code base. All right, so now Git and GitHub are great tools used by many developers. But now you don't really need to know anything before you start this course. That's just a short introduction to Git and GitHub. So in the next tutorial, we are going to set it up on our computer. All right, so we'll take a short break here and we'll come back in the next lesson. Hello, my friends. So in this video, we are going to learn how to install Git on our computer. Okay, but before we start using Git on our computer, we have first got to install it. Now, that's really easy to do, and I'm going to show you just how easy it is. So the first way is to go to the Git website. So just follow this link in here, and then down below, click on one of these links here, depending on your operating system. And then you can just follow the installation process. So I'm just going to click Mac OS because I am on Mac OS. Okay, so in here it says we can install Git with Homebrew. So first of all, if Homebrew is not installed on your computer for whatever reason, why don't you just install it just by clicking on this link. And after you have it on your computer, you run this brew install git command in your terminal. All right, so that's going to download it to your computer. So then once you have downloaded Git and you open up your command line tool, just check to see that you've got Git installed. Now, all you need to do is say Git, then --version, then press enter. Now, if you're seeing a number like this, it means that you have successfully installed Git. So the next thing that I want to show you is set up a couple of options for Git here, and that is username, user email. Now, I want to do this because when we start making changes in Git, Git is going to want to know who is making these changes. And that's one of the ways that we keep track of changes. So let's add in our username. Now, first of all, I'm going to say git config and --global. Because we're setting this in a global, and then I'm going to say user.name. So I'm going to be calling myself Alex, just like this. And then I also want to use the email, so we'll say git config --global. And this time it's going to be user.email, and I'm going to say alex@tech.co. Like so. All right, so now we've set up our username and email, and if at any point in time you wanted to see just what you registered as, you can always say git config, then user.name. And then you're going to see username. And for the email, we're going to say git config and then user.email. Just like so. All right, so the next thing that I want to show you is just a few basic command line commands, because we're going to be using some of those commands throughout this course. So if you've ever used it before, just feel free to watch along with this part. If you are familiar with these commands, you can always skip this part as well. Just go on to the next lesson. But, you never know what you might know or not know. So you might learn something. All right, so first of all, I'll just show you how to change directories. Okay, so we can say cd, then -- to go up one directory. And by the way, don't forget to put a space between C, D, and double dot. So this is going to take you up one directory. So we can see that we've gone from being in Git and GitHub to desktop. So if I want to go back to the Git and GitHub directory again, I'll just say CD. That stands for change directory, by the way. And then just say Git and GitHub, which is the directory that I want to go to. So I'll go to CD again, and this time I am going to go to Docs. All right, so now we are here in the Docs folder. And if we want to list the contents of the Docs folder, we can say ls. That's going to list everything inside it. Or if you're using Windows, dir, and that does a similar thing. All right, so you're looking at everything that's inside this directory. So if you want to do cd into another directory, I could do that because I'm just looking at this list of different directories. Okay, so if we want to make a new directory, we can do that by saying mk to make a dir for directory. And I'm going to do, I'm going to call this test. So this is going to make a directory called test within my current directory. So I'm going to use ls to list out the directories again. And now I can see that test is right here. Okay, so let's go into that directory, cd test. Then in here, we can make a new file. Now, if you're using a Mac, you can say touch. If you're using Windows, no, you can't do this. On Windows, you can use the echo command. But because now I'm on Mac OS, I'm going to say touch, and then we name the file. So I'm going to call this index.html. And it's going to create an index.html file inside the directory called test. Now, if I'm going to say ls, we can see the index.html in here. Okay, so to delete a file, I can say rm, and that basically means remove. It stands for remove. And I'm going to remove index.html like so. Now, if I type ls, we won't be seeing that file anymore because it's been deleted. Terrific. Okay, so now I'm going to go up a directory, and this time I want to delete the test directory. So I can do rmdir. So I'll remove the directory, and that's going to remove test. So let's type ls to list our documents. Test is gone. All right, so that's just a basic overview of some of the different commands that we will be using in this series. Again, they're basic commands in the command line, and once you got them, they're very easy to remember. All right, so we've got Git installed, and in the next lesson, we're going to go ahead and start using it. So we'll pause here if you need to, and we'll come back in the next.